Who do you think you are? What's the essence that creates the idea of you? Are you a philosophical zombie whose eyes show that the lights are on but there seems to be no one home? Or are you a thinker who, after a prolonged cogito, came to the conclusion that therefore I am? Or are you an individual enmeshed in a much larger hive mind that we call society? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's Body Mind Empowerment podcast. How to find some of the true aspects of yourself and how to escape the matrix of your mind. If you want to support this podcast, then make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and other social media platforms. You can also share it with a friend because word to mouth is the source of energy that's going to ascend this podcast into the stratosphere. And it will also support the purpose of this show, which is to educate and empower high-performing individuals to function and feel at their best. Body Mind Empowerment is about human life enhancement. So it's definitely something you can apply into every area of your existence. Without further ado, let's get on with today's show, starting with the tip of the iceberg.
Do you want to know what it is?
Body Mind Empowerment.
Get stronger, faster, smarter, quicker, friendlier, more helpful, more driven.
Everything the body needs.
Control your mind.
The tip of the iceberg. The human mind is very much a mystery to us. It has been used as a model for the iceberg. The iceberg model is a tool for systems way of thinking that's designed for understanding individual and group behavior. If you've never seen a real iceberg or a picture of it, then imagine a huge block of ice floating at sea with about 10 to 20% of it on the surface and the remaining 80% of it underneath water. The tip of the iceberg is your conscious self, your thoughts, your actions, your self-awareness. The subsurface part of the iceberg is the subconscious mind that comprises your beliefs, your blind spots, your cultural background, values, and everything you don't see right away. When you look at our individuality, let's say from the perspective of this iceberg, then you will discover that what we see is what is happening. Events, tangible phenomenon, incidents, and so on. What we don't see are the patterns of previous behavior, the structures and previous events that have influenced those patterns, and the mental models, the values, beliefs, and ideas that have built those structures. In order for the iceberg to remain afloat, it needs the majority of its mass to be underwater. The same is with our brain. We need to allocate most of our mental processes to the subconscious mind and autonomic nervous system. Constantly controlling your heartbeat and regulating hormones would be very strenuous and energy consuming. You don't think about digesting food or following your habits. You just do them because it's more efficient. The subconscious mind is referred to as the part of our brain where most of our unconscious and automatic decisions are made. It's the iceberg. Our subconscious mind is one of our greatest tools, but it can be also used as a weapon against us. It's a source of creativity, feelings, inspiration, emotions, and deep intuitive wisdom that can be very useful in making quick movements, dodging bullets, following your instinct, and having light bulb ideas of genius. Simultaneously, it can be a source of hidden detriment in the form of negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, cognitive dissonance, addictions, and so many other things that will harm your empowerment. I don't know if you've seen the movie Titanic, but spoiler alert, the iceberg can be very dangerous for sinking ships, ruining personal relationships and creating toxic habits that will lead to, if not death, then disease and misery nonetheless. Most importantly, because of the way it's constructed, we more often than not fail to see how it affects us. That's why we want to become more conscious in our everyday lives, to be aware of what goes on inside us, our thoughts, and to be more aware about the things we do, our actions. What is the key component to making rapid progress in anything? Whether that be your fitness, knowledge, learning a language, relationships, or business. How can you get the results you're after faster? I'm not going to tell you some secret productivity hack or magic supplement to take. Instead, I want you to focus on what really needs to happen to you as a person. Fact of the matter is that you can't stay the same. You have to change. The person who would be fit, the person who would be a millionaire and fluent in some language like Swahili, would be different from the person you are right now. Your physiology, your habits, beliefs, and most importantly, the neural network of your brain would be different. But simply making a decision to change isn't enough. Going on a diet won't equal fat loss. Just being at the gym doesn't give you muscles. Starting a business won't guarantee you money. Studying a language won't guarantee you fluency. The rate of your progress depends on how conscious you are when doing all of those things. Deliberate practice means you're fully attentive with the activity you're engaged with. You're seeking to improve and are mindful of the changes you make. You have to notice the subtle idiosyncrasies and improvements you've made. You have to notice that your form in a barbell squat or a handstand has gotten better, that you can maintain more stability. You have to notice that you can formulate sentences more fluently and that you're capable of thinking in that language you're learning, whether that be Latin or Swahili. You have to notice that you experience less hesitation and procrastination when working on your business or approaching people you haven't met before. All those subtleties are minute, but they're highly important. You will get better at anything by going through sheer amounts of zombie repetitions the same way you can just treadmill yourself to fitness. But the key component to making real long-term growth that would stick is in your consciousness. Consciously acknowledge the decisions you've made. Consciously register the improvements you're experiencing, and consciously recognize the person you've become. Consciously take the red pill. I hope you've seen the movie The Matrix. It looks fascinating, it has awesome fight scenes, meaningful plot, and cool looking people. It talks about this regular guy, Neo, who is a computer hacker. One day, he starts receiving messages from an international super vigilante called Morpheus. After Neo decides to follow the White Rabbit, he meets Trinity, who takes him to Morpheus. Morpheus makes Neo an offer he can't refuse. He says, "You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes." What most people fail to realize is that The Matrix and the story of Neo is the story of the individual. You are the one, but you're in a different stage of the journey than me or Neo. The term red pill refers to a human who is aware of the true nature of the Matrix. Taking the red pill is about becoming self-empowered and beginning the process towards your greatest self. It's the idea of the Illuminati eye in the pyramid. It involves extreme ownership over everything in your world, seeing behind your conditioning, and becoming meta-aware. After you've taken the red pill, you realize that the person you thought yourself to currently be is nothing else but an illusion, a set of sub-egos and representations of your social mirror called the ego. Your cultural background, parentage, school, and all of your life's events have created the story of you. Have you ever wondered why you can't seem to drastically transform your life and make the changes you need to make? You can feel this immense potential within you, but there's something holding you down. The biggest source of your angst are your limiting beliefs, self-doubt, and lack of discipline. But those things aren't necessarily a part of you. Humans are social creatures. We've been living in groups for hundreds and thousands of years. In fact, it's thought that social cooperation was one of the driving forces of our cognitive rampage and construction of society. That's true. Our mind is adapted to recognizing subconscious signals from our other people. Our interactions are embedded by dozens of facial cues from our peers. Their gestures and postures, cultural messages or symbols, and deeper meanings are supposed to help us understand each other better. One-on-one communication wasn't enough though. We created tribes, clans, cities, kingdoms, countries, and international allegiances across the world. The key phenomenon is culture. There are many definitions for culture, but the late 19th century anthropologist Edward Tylor was one of the first to describe it in print. He said, "Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, law, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by a human as a member of society. Culture is a way of living that promotes certain ideas and potentials about what's right or wrong, and how an individual should behave. Culture surrounds us everywhere. The state, the city architecture, the arts, the military, the school. It can be found in companies, social media, online video games, forums, and even your own family traditions. Culture is the blueprint of thinking and behaving, where you, the individual, are its canvas. Culture determines your values, your beliefs, what you think is correct, and how you should behave. When it comes to your lifestyle, habits, and mindset, then culture plays a huge role. Your circle of friends has a massive impact on who you become as a person, not because you lack congruency or personal uniqueness, but because you as an individual are constantly trying to fit into your social group. You're subconsciously trying to maintain good relations with the people you live, because back in the savannah, it was detrimental for survival. If you'd been left alone or kicked out of the tribe, you would have most likely died. So, you're constantly evaluating your position, your social status inside your group, and are trying to either become more high status or to protect your current position there. What you eat, what you wear, what music you're listening to is all predicated by culture, whether that be your ethnic culture or the culture of your friends. They say that you're the average of the 5 people you're surrounded with, which is quite true, but yet again, not because you lack congruency, but because you're trying to fit in with your peers. You've probably been in a situation where you're trying to improve yourself. You start working out, eating right, reading, meditating, doing all these self-empowering activities. You're starting to gain momentum, but one of your friends goes like, "What? You're reading these self-help books? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get better? Better than me? Are you saying that you becoming better means that I have to improve myself? Are you trying to go against the culture of our circle of friends, the clan, the tribe?" And you stop. You revert back to your old habits because you becoming better would put you into the danger of becoming ostracized from your group. And the same can be seen in crabs as well. When you catch some crabs and put them in a bucket, then they're all jammed together. They're all in a huge trouble because most likely they're gonna die. Of course, every crab will start to fight for its own survival. They begin to climb out of the bucket and reach for the light. Individually, every crab could easily escape the bucket. They have claws, and they can just pull themselves out of there. Collectively, they're all doomed, because once some crab starts getting to the top, the other crabs pull it down. This is the crab mentality, which in the context of your friends and peers, I'm going to change over to the crab culture. In human behavior, the same analogy applies. When some member of the group starts to succeed, when they're starting to become more high status, then the others will try to bring them down by giving hateful comments, talking behind their backs, saying, "You've changed," and ridiculing them in front of the group. In animals, if you endanger the alpha male's position in the group, they will even go as far as kill you. So it's a constant battle of status. Your genes also affect the composition of your culture. Certain genes develop certain traits in individuals, which then transitions over to society as a whole. Traditional cuisine like sauerkraut, rice, drinking raw cow's milk, or not eating pork has all been predicated by living in certain environments where you needed to eat in a certain way in order to survive. Therefore, you developed certain taste preferences and metabolic profiles and eating traditions. The people you're attracted to are also influenced by your genes, to be more liking towards those individuals who would benefit your already existing genetic makeup. Like Richard Dawkins said in The Surface Gene, us humans are nothing else but vessels for carrying on our genes throughout the generations. But he also introduced the idea of a cultural gene, or a meme. A meme is a unit of cultural ideas, symbols, practices, or beliefs that can be transitioned over from one mind to another mind through a range of cultural mediums such as writing, speech, rituals, traditions, teachings, or the media. Like with biological genes, cultural memes replicate themselves, and there's a constant process of natural selection happening there as well. Truth is, you as a person are a product of your environment. Your body and mind move themselves according to the conditioning they receive. If you exercise, you get fitter. If you read, you get smarter. It's simple. Unfortunately, that conditioning isn't always of your conscious choosing, but more often than not, it comes from the culture that you follow unconsciously. You've adopted certain beliefs and ideas into your iceberg model and have sank it deep underneath the surface. This is the matrix of society. The vast majority of people in the world are passive products of their culture. They have the same religious beliefs as their parents. They have the same political views as their parents. They get married to the first person they date with. They stay with the same friends ever since birth. And they're stuck inside the matrix without even knowing what it is. I'm not saying that there's anything particularly bad about it. Culture can be a great thing, and traditions are a huge part of personal identity. But we must never become dogmatic about any ideologies, ways of doing things, or holding onto past values. The world is changing, and so does culture. You have to evolve, and so does your culture. Steve Jobs has an amazing quote for this, about how to leave a dent in the universe. It goes like this. When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world. Try not to bash into walls too much. Try to have a nice family, have fun, save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. Taking the red pill means that you realize the person you've been living currently is a social construct. It's been created because of your conditioning, how your parents have taught you, how they had been taught by their culture, what your parents told you about your personality, what kind of relationships you've had with your friends, and what kind of personal interpretations you've made about who you are based on those interactions. And getting out of the matrix involves you realizing that you can be anyone, you can learn any skill, you can be whatever you like, and you can accomplish anything. You are the one. In the movie, Neo took the red pill, but at first he didn't really believe in his abilities until he went through some massive revelations and challenges. If you haven't seen the movie, then cover your eyes and ears because I'm going to give you another massive spoiler. Spoiler alert! Neo gets shot by Agent Smith. He dies, but because he loves Trinity and because he has the rest of humanity to rescue, he gets resurrected. He has a greater purpose to fulfill that's beyond his ego. It's an apotheosis, a metaphorical death and resurrection, in which the old version of him dies and he gets reborn into the more powerful version of himself. What really happens is that Neo, the hero of the story, he kills his own ego. Neo realizes that he indeed is the one, that he has the power to change, to transform, and become seemingly omnipotent. It was just a shift in mindset and belief, a small reprogramming of the mind that can happen to anyone. Now let me tell you how to actually make it so. How to upgrade your mental operating system. Our brain is just a massive database that brings together our embodied experience in the world. The mind is a unique piece of software that functions like our operating system on a computer. It gives us certain frameworks in the form of beliefs. It determines our user experience through our perceptions and attitude. It influences our physical being with its psychological condition, and it directs our behavior towards our systems of goals. We're more akin to doing the things that give us pleasure and avoid those that don't satisfy us that much. Unfortunately, human beings have an age-old mental software dating back to thousands of years. If you haven't heard about it already, then it's the triune brain module, with the basal ganglia being the reptilian brain, the limbic system being the monkey mind, and the prefrontal cortex being the human brain. Our mind is suited best for living in an environment where food is scarce and danger lurking around every corner. The reptilian complex influences your taste preferences and the desire to protect yourself. The monkey mind is where you store memories. It's the one that keeps making you get distracted and procrastinate. With the advancement of civilization and technology, we're experiencing a massive evolutionary time lag. We're like monkeys inside a spaceship. And oh shit, we actually are. But like with most computers, the software can be replaced and upgraded to a much more suitable version. We can change our beliefs, shift our paradigms, set different goals, and redirect our focus. How do you change your mental operating system? By upgrading your mind and enhancing your mindset. First, you have to look at your old software. What beliefs do you hold? What values do you have? What do you focus the most in life? What goals do you have? Secondly, you make a decision to swap out those old applications or memes and download new ones, or at least upgrade them to the 2.0 version. If you make a decision that's powerful enough or that gives you big enough of a reason to change, you have a much greater chance of actually changing. It's always a question of why. Why are you doing it? Which one do you feel more attracted towards? Your current mental operating system or the one you want to upgrade to? Neither is particularly right or wrong. It's just that, like Friedrich Nietzsche said, with a big enough of a why, any how becomes possible. You have to start with finding your why, the reason you want to become self-empowered. One thing to keep in mind here is that When I'm talking about upgrading your mental software, then I mean overcoming your limiting beliefs, shifting your paradigms, looking at your cognitive biases, challenging your own behavior, and the intentions behind your actions. It's about creating an extraordinary mind that's seeking a meta perspective and is able to detach itself from its own narrow perception. Let's start off with the foundational building blocks we perceive the world with, our beliefs and values. Every decision we make is determined by what we believe and what we hold dear. Our beliefs determine what we think is possible, how we think the world works, and what outcomes we hope our actions will give us. If you believe that money is the root cause of all evil, then you will unconsciously self-sabotage yourself to earn less and judge rich people. You will start to procrastinate when starting your own business, or you will revert back to your crap friends at work when trying to get a promotion or a raise. The reason you think making money is inherently bad, or it's associated with greater pain in the future. Being poor involves less pain and uncertainty because it's something you're familiar with at the moment. If you believe that no matter what you do, you'll never get fit and lose fat, you'll reinforce your own bias towards not exercising as hard and deliberately eating more food than you should. Or if you're trying to gain weight, then you'll eat less. You'll finish your lifting sessions sooner than your muscles could handle, and you'll treat yourself with an extra scoop of ice cream because, why not? You don't believe that you could achieve your goals anyway, so why not? Our beliefs and values are interdependent. We believe in what we hold to be dear, and we value what we believe to be true. I'll repeat that. We believe in what we hold to be dear, and we value what we believe to be true. That is just profound. If there's something you remember from this episode, then it should be this. Don't look for being right. Look for the truth. Don't try to be certain of anything because that would entail you've already made up your mind. Instead, go where it is uncomfortable for your mind to accept new ideas and challenge them constantly. This is where most people revert back to their old dogmas because they prefer to go back into their delusions and lies. That's when Cypher in the Matrix said, "Ignorance is bliss." He wanted to erase the memory of having ever awakened to the system so that he could keep living an illusion. What creates beliefs? Beliefs get created through our perceived understanding about ourselves and how do we think the world works. We can either gain knowledge from the minds of other people, which include our parents, our friends, our culture, or from our own reference experience, which is us actually pushing ourselves at the gym and making gains or starting to earn some cash from our business. And the medium for communicating that knowledge is language. Language is thought to be uniquely human, and it's the most powerful faculty of social cooperation. What's more, language directly influences the way we perceive the physical world. Did you know that the Eskimo have 50 words for snow? I thought it was just white, but no. Apparently, snow has many different shadings of grey and various meanings in different contexts. The Eskimo literally see different things in the physical world because the language of their culture has transformed the way they perceive the snow. What it means is that you have to change your language. The words you use to describe yourself, the phrases you hear in your mind, and the stories you tell yourself. We tell stories. Culture and societies tell stories in the form of myths and legends, so that the future generations would know how to survive the chaos of the natural world, how to fight dragons, how to make friends, and how to find treasures. We as individuals tell stories to ourselves that would reinforce our beliefs, our habits, and traits. Your mind, it doesn't want to go into conflict with itself. It wants to fit into a paradigm that's familiar to you and others around you. Ignorance is bliss. Even if it's not safe and causes suffering, you want to stay the same because that's what you can be certain of. If everything else turns to shit, then I'll at least have my bad habits, limiting self-talk and fears. Ignorance is indeed bliss. Changing yourself begins with changing the story you tell yourself about who you think you are, how other people see you, what is possible and supposed to happen. You have to own your thoughts, actions, emotions, beliefs, fears, intentions, habits, responsibilities, mistakes, flaws, everything. So, this is the first paradigm shift you need to make if wanting to get out of the matrix. The second component to upgrading your mental operating system is more physical, with some real tangible potential. I'm going to throw another concept at you which you might have heard of before. Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity basically refers to your brain's ability to change and restructure its neural networks. The most commonly used phrase to describe it is the Hebb's rule, named after Donald Hebb. He said, "Neurons that fire together, wire together. Neurons that fail to link, fire out of sync." What it will tell you is that you can restructure your brain and change its faculties any way you like. Focus, procrastination, working hard, laziness, love, positive thinking, discipline, and every other mental activity is a pattern. A neural pattern of thinking and acting in response to that. They're the two things that truly belong to you. You lack concentration, willpower, compassion, or commitment because you've hardwired your brain to walk certain pathways or to tell certain stories. You are your neural patterns. Neuroplasticity is a dynamic process that happens constantly with every decision you make, meaning every time you check your Facebook messages while trying to study, you're reinforcing the habit to keep doing it in the future. Every time you give in to temptation and eat the marshmallow, you're teaching yourself that it's okay to break. Every time you push yourself hard in the gym, you're developing stronger willpower and tolerance for discomfort. Every time you focus your entire attention on one single activity at a time, you're making and you're honing your concentration and dedication. Every time you become more conscious about yourself during the day, you're more likely to repeat it in that same situation, which can then potentially carry over to other situations as well. So how do you replace your neural networks? Let's take an example. You want to overcome laziness, you have to rewire your brain. Start replacing the habit of laziness and procrastination by mindfully, consciously attempting to improve it. It feels uncomfortable because you're literally ripping apart your neural patterns. Another issue is that habits are hard to break. The key is becoming more mindful and aware in general, to actually notice yourself during the day and not being on autopilot all the time. By default, you think that you are just the way you are and that's it. But in reality, your personality is just a reflection of your environment and life events, the Matrix. Understanding this, that your characteristics and qualities are not set in stone, and accepting that they're like programs running in your mind, allows you to detach yourself from them. It's the same realization that Neo had about being the one. To rewrite your stories, you have to look at them from a meta perspective, like a real writer. It requires you to distance yourself from the text and make your adjustments to it. So how do you do it? First, it starts with making a decision, taking full responsibility for your actions, and deciding to commit to change. I mean, if you want it bad enough, then you would do it anyway, no matter what. 2. Identify the programs you want to or need to change. 3. Become conscious of you exhibiting these programs. 4. Then you implement change. You start doing the activities that allow you to become the person you want to be. If you want to be lazy, then be lazy. But if you want to be a hard worker, then you have to work hard. 5. Recognize your habit loop. What is triggering you into your old behavior? When do you start doubting yourself? When you start procrastinating? Or when do you start eating the marshmallow? 6. Implement the new pieces into the story. Really write out what changes do you want to make in your personality, your habits, and your conditioning. This puts it out there on the paper, a real thing that's not just inside your head. You can see it as an external object, as if you're the eye in the pyramid. Number 7. Consistency is crucial. The more often you do something, the more it gets engraved into your brain. Repeated actions will lead to the same repeated outcomes. You have to keep going through the same positive story you want to tell yourself over and over again. Number 8. Be mindful of change. This is the last one. A great tip is to actually notice yourself making improvements and breaking bad habits. Every time you manage to work without getting distracted, without grabbing for junk food, or when you have a breakthrough, you have to congratulate yourself and you have to keep going. Realize that it's a matter of choices all around. What activities you choose to do on a daily basis, how you choose to structure your neural networks, who are the people you choose to surround yourself with, and who you choose to become as a result of that. Your stories make up who you are, but they're not predetermined. They're based on past experiences and your perceptions of your life events. But you are the author, you're the one who can take full responsibility over the things that have happened to you, and you can choose to become something different. That's it on how to escape the matrix of your mind. Realizing that you as a person are made of the stories you tell yourself, the ideas you have of yourself based on your position in the social hierarchy, your interactions with other minds, and the beliefs about what's possible and who you are. Upgrading your mental operating system starts with changing your beliefs and stories. Having an extraordinary self-empowered mindset is achieved by taking the red pill and realizing you are the one. That you can be anyone, you can do anything, learn any skill, accomplish anything, anywhere, with anyone, and that it's just a pattern. It's a neural pattern, mostly. These are some more things to think about every day. I know I am. But what these things tell you is that you're actually more free than you realize. It's liberating to take the red pill and seek the truth. It's joy, excitement, and empowerment. Once you wake up, you never want to go back to sleep again. I'm sure you found some good advice on how to escape the matrix of your mind, or at least you gained some more insight into this. If you know someone else who could use this information, then share this podcast with them, because you'll be doing yourself and them a huge service. To support this podcast, leave us a review and follow us on social. Other than that, thanks for listening. My name is Siim Lund. Stay empowered.
Hi guys and girls, Rose Burnett here from Mind, Body, Soul Balance, but also from the Ascended Masters Global Group. We've recently just changed our name from the Ascended Masters Lightworker Community Group to more of a global focus. And I kind of want to share an announcement with you that if you're someone that's interested in being a light worker, or you're working in any of the fields in terms of health and well-being, mindfulness, emotional healing, spiritual teaching, it can be anything from diet, fitness, nutrition, things like naturopathy, all the energy healing modalities, sound therapy, meditation, yoga, mind, body, soul balance, transformational coaching, emotional healing, and psychology in that kind of area. Not so much psychology, but more about mind, body, soul. Yeah. Any of the modalities around helping people get into higher levels of consciousness, yeah, chakra healing, chakra balancing, astrology, tarot, oracle. They're all ways in which to connect to spirit, and put out a message. Inspirational, motivational, yeah, this group's for you. We've been going for about 6 months now, mostly setting the foundations and building the size of the group and the membership, and obviously hoping, and we will. It's going to be a global group. It's already a global group. Yeah, I've got people in here from all over the world, and I'm going to shortly share with you what the vision and mission of our group is, to see if it's right for you, if it's something you want to be involved in. Some exciting news in terms of the Ascended Masters Global brand group. What we're going to achieve going forward is that there will be an education platform. It's all about helping to support light workers such as yourself, if it's something, or you're an ascended master already working in your field, or it's something you've got a passion, you feel that's part of your burning desire in terms of your life path, life purpose that is calling you to do. Yeah, this group's for you. It's about finding that support with peers, like-minded people. It's not religious, it's spiritual. Yeah, so it's not about fanaticism. It's about love, peace, harmony, changing our world so that we can help humanity, be in service to humanity, to raise the not only positive vibration on this planet, but raise the collective consciousness, yeah, so that people can operate from a place of empowerment, higher states of well-being, physical, emotional, mindfulness, as well as connected to spirit, Gaia, Mother Earth, yeah, grounding and balancing their energy. It's working, a key focus is on youth, as well as youth is a different program, but I've got something super exciting about that, but I'm not going to reveal it here. Yeah, but it's about helping individuals, families, communities, not only with emotional healing, but also just, the day-to-day struggles of modern life, so they can cope better with it, but also so that we can, in terms of an undercurrent, is to raise the level of not only positivity, but peace and harmony in our world, yeah. And I think it starts at a core level with self and individuals, but it grows and spans out, yeah. And the more we can kind of do this work, the more we get to help, yeah, in a global way. And I think this has kind of been a sacred convergence. It's been coming for a while, and I can feel it in my bones, and it's certainly kicking off in 2019. There was stirrings of it last year, so if you've been having a spiritual awakening, it's probably why. Yeah, we're all coming together to help humanity, and I'm super excited about it. We do have putting together a steering committee at the moment for the Ascended Masters Global Group for light workers. As mentioned, the new website platform's in development. Going to be an educational platform. It's going to be a membership. If you want to be part of this group, you want to get notified about what's going on, you need to get on the email list. Yes, I'll pop the link on here and down below. We also have a Facebook group that's been going for a while. Not all of our members are in there. I think currently we've got about 315 members already. There's about a third of those on the Facebook Facebook group. I'll pop that link as well, because that's where we share a lot of stuff on a day-to-day basis. And you can get connected with everyone in there and get to know everyone as well. Yeah. I will be setting up a playlist on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, because to be honest, there's only one of me, so it's the easiest way for me to manage all of the stuff I'm doing. I do coaching, I do programs, I do all sorts of stuff, not just the tarot. Yeah, it's just a way of me connecting into spirituality and channeling messages from spirit to you. So yeah, if you're interested in following that playlist, subscribe to it, or subscribe to my channel, follow that playlist, yeah, because I'll be posting stuff regularly up there. In terms of, there'll also be live, premier live sessions, yeah, we'll go through a lot of stuff that affects light workers of specific interest to this group. Yeah, so exciting times ahead. I'm going to follow up now with, we're going to launch into what the group's all about. I'm going to explain to you in just a couple of slides, yeah, in terms of what is the vision and the mission. And after that, decide if this group's for you, yeah. I hope you'll join, and I'll chat to you in a sec. Let's dive in and look at the focus and mission of the Ascended Masters Global Lightworker Community Group, what it's all about, what you need to know if you're interested in joining. The first core focus is to help you recognize and develop your divine gifts and talents as a light worker through education, events, and support. To build a global community of light workers and ascended masters for support and collaboration to work together, not only to help you with your own path of becoming or being a light worker, but also to create global change for humanity. To create global change for humanity in raising the positive vibration, the peace and harmony on our planet. At its core, it's to be in service to humanity, to create a better world and empower youth, individuals and families to live healthier, more positive and empowered lives that encompass the physical well-being, emotional, mindfulness and spiritual connection to Gaia, Mother Earth and universal source energy. And finally, to influence change on a global level to create a better humanity for the future. So if you feel like this group's for you, it's something you want to get involved in, it's part of your life path, your life purpose, you've got a passion for this kind of work, join the Ascended Masters Global Lightworker Community Group. The link's here on this video. That'll get you into the email list. We receive all the updates and communication about the group. Also join the Facebook group. Everything you need to know is in the description box below. And I look forward to you joining us. And for now, namaste.
Hi.
We are.
It's my first event here. This is awesome. It's really fun. So thank you. My question is in terms of getting more in tune with that inner being. I was hoping you can give me an answer. I'm kind of new to meditating, so I'm hoping for some kind of technique that can maximize my potential as a person, as well as help me get more in touch with my inner being.
We really like your words here, because there is no better understanding about maximizing myself as a person than to understand that it is connecting myself to my whole self, allowing the whole of me to be present in this moment. So it's helpful to know that the whole of you, you see, you were non-physical energy before you came into this body, and even though a part of your consciousness is focused here, that larger non-physical part of you, that energy part of you, that source, God force part of you, remains non-physically focused, but is still right here focused with you. And so what you're looking for as a human is to find ways to be as open to that wholeness as you can be, so that you can allow, moment by moment, more of that wholeness to be present in your deciding process, in your deciding what to do process, in your clarity process, and so forth. So really good words. You're looking for exactly what we want you to be looking for. Meditation is so interesting because there are so many ways of going about it. But we just want to say to you what your objective is and an easy way that we know of to hook up. So your objective is to offer in a moment in time that you've chosen, set aside 15 or 20 minutes, earlier in the day the better, because there's less resistance earlier in the day. Sort of like get the early flight. Less resistance, the better. But your objective is to quiet your mind to the point of no resistance, so that in the absence of resistance, your vibration rises. It will, just like a cork floating to the surface. And as your vibration rises, you vibrationally tune in to the frequency of your inner being, and that's what alignment is. So meditation is the path to alignment. It's a tool to the path to alignment. It's interesting. It just means stop the normal thought to allow the internal thought or the inner being thought. That's really what it is. Well, most of you have trained your minds, and you should. In other words, you want to be actively involved with your mind. Your mind is your creative mechanism. Your mind is the way you focus energy. And so you've trained yourself to focus, and it feels weird to you to have any moment of time where you deliberately don't focus. So let's use different words. You're not focusing, you're allowing a more important focus. What you're actually saying is, I'm setting this time aside to clear a space in me so that my inner being can flow through me clearly. This is a distinction that we really want you to hear. Your inner being is always flowing to you and through you, always. You don't need to meditate to allow us to see through your eyes or hear through your ears or taste through your tongue. In other words, we're there all the time. But it is necessary for you to recognize that it's happening. The first time Esther meditated, she received a very strong energy sensation. She didn't really know what it was. And as thoughts started flowing, she didn't know that they were our thoughts because they were being deciphered through her translating mechanism. So she thought they were her thoughts, so she tried not to think them. Well, that's normal because it's coming through your mechanism. And so in this process of meditation, first you're going to quiet your mind, then you're going to feel impulse. And the best scenario is when you feel a detachment from your time-space reality, which means you feel sort of numb, or you feel sort of swoony, or you can't tell your nose from your toe. You feel detachment. Now your mind is going to wander because it's used to wandering around and it's used to being active. So when you catch yourself thinking about something, sometimes if Esther's got something going on, she will sit to meditate, and it will take almost the whole 20 minutes just to quiet her mind because there's enough momentum going of the thought. Well, don't fight that. If your mind is really active, then this isn't really a very good time to meditate. But if within 15 or 20 minutes you can really relax into non-thought until you can actually feel that detachment, we want to say that that feeling of detachment is key to knowing you're accomplishing a significant meditation. That difference in the way your body feels. Even better, once you've received that sense of detachment, if you receive an impulse to move and you know you're not directing it, even better. That means you've come into alignment with your inner being who knows every cell of your body and who is offering impulses so that your body will respond to the intentionality of the thought that's being offered. You see what we're getting at? So just relax until that happens, and don't push it, don't try to make it happen, and most of all, don't sit with a problem that you're meditating on. Don't say, I really want an answer to this. This is a significant thing to understand. Step 1 is ask. Step 2 is source answers. Step 3 is you got to let it in. So let's talk about that relative to meditating. Step 1, not good in meditating. Because when you're asking the question, you're all actively involved in the vibration of the question, and the question and the answer are vibrationally different. The problem and the solution are vibrationally different. So you want some distance between activation of some problem and your time to meditate. So think of meditation as a step 3 moment. Don't look at meditation as a way to fix things. Look at meditation as a way that your odds are greatest of letting in the questions that you've been asking, the step 1ing that you've been doing, and the step 2ing that we've been doing and are doing, and you're just going to have a step 3 moment, which means you're just going to relax and focus on your breathing. That's a good thing. Count your breaths. That's a good thing. Esther listens for a sound in the room. Like in this room, she would listen for the air conditioner because it's steady. You hear it? She would just focus there, around the cough, around the phone ringing, around the rustling of papers, around the different things, around the voice that's happening incessantly in this room. Just focus on something. Focus on something that isn't very interesting, because Esther never focuses on that air conditioner and judges it. She never thinks, I've heard better. It's just a soft thing to focus on. And because she's focused on that, she can't focus on something else. She's not remembering something while she's focusing on that. She's not analyzing some problem while she's focusing on that. She's focused on that. And since it's not very interesting, then it's not very active. And since it's not very active, then it's rather inactive. And because it's rather inactive, then there's no resistance in it. And because there's no resistance in it, her vibration rises easily. And as her vibration rises easily, she hooks up with broader perspective easily. That's what meditation is. And that's the way we would go about it. We wouldn't make work of it, but we would do it every day because it is a progressive thing. The more you do it, the more confidence you have in it. The more you do it, the easier it is for you to tune into it. The more you do it, the more nuanced it becomes. The more you do it, the more you get to feel the progression of your connection to inner being. And we say to all of you, and especially to you, it isn't a big deal and it won't be difficult. It isn't difficult. It's being who you really are. It's getting who you aren't out of the way so you can be who you are. And by who you aren't, we mean it's getting worrisome you out of the way. It's getting impatient you out of the way. It's getting competitive you out of the way. It's getting anything out of the way that your inner being isn't. And when everything is out of the way that your inner being isn't, then you is as your inner being is, and there you are. So what does that mean? Does that mean the secrets of the universe will be revealed to you? Yeah. Yeah. But what it really means is you want to get used to that feeling. Used to that feeling. The thing that meditation brings to you is it gives you this stability. You're not so quick to fly off the handle. You're steadier in your vibration. It amplifies your sensitivity to your alignment or your discord. It helps you understand if there's a gap between the vibration of your inner being and you. And when you think about it, your inner being is always satisfied. When you're dissatisfied, there's a gap. Your inner being always loves. When you're not loving, there's a gap. Your inner being always knows that things are working out for you. When you don't know that, there's a gap. So meditation is a way of closing the gap. Well, pretty easy to close the gap if you're not thinking about anything. So don't think of anything and close the gap. Don't think of anything and close the gap. Don't think of anything and close the gap until you now know what it viscerally feels like when the gap is closed. Oh. It's not as interesting as I thought it would be. Gap opens. Close the gap. Wonder if I'm supposed to get something. Gap opens. Breathe more, focus more, close the gap. Seems like I should be doing something. Gap opens. Breathe more, close the gap. All is well with me. This feels good. Nice thing to be doing. Gap opens a little, you're thinking too much. Just relax. Nothing needs to be done. In tune with Source. Can't hear your Source, speak louder, gap opens. You just get so you can feel that attunement or not, that attunement or not. And after a little while, you'll be so in tune that you'll begin to receive thoughts that your inner being is thinking. And because you've already practiced what it feels like to be in tune, you'll know those thoughts are the thoughts of your inner being because you'll feel the attunement that you've been practicing when there were no thoughts. That's the best description of meditation that we've ever offered. Helpful?
Yes. Thank you.
Enough?
Yes.